Hi, my name is Henne, and I'm here to show you a little bit of embossing. Usually I get asked the difference between embossing and embossing powder. And I'll just tell you a little bit. There's a thing called an embossing, which is this. And you put your paper in and then run it through a machine, and it'll emboss with the images that are on the folder to show you how to use embossing powder. I'm going to show you a couple of simple things to do that I have found works for me so that you are able to do this without too much trouble. The first thing you need to have is an embossing buddy, which we have on our website on Stampin' Up, and they're available. I think they're to use this. This is when you cut out your first. Hold it. I cut out some papers ahead of time that I'm going to emboss. This is from our Snowflake Splendor. It's like a greenish color on one side. It's kind of like a watercolor effect on one side. And then on the other side, there's stamped images of snowflakes. But I'm going to use the green side. So let me get going here. There it is. Now what you need to do with this embossing buddy is you need to rub it over the paper. It takes away the static. It helps the powder to adhere to the paper. Okay. That's all you have to do. And then you have this other thing called Versamark, and you use that to it's like a glue, but if you leave it on the paper and it dries, it leaves a permanent mark. That's why it's called a Versamark. I'm going to be using this particular stamping product by Stampin' Up, and it's called Snowflake Wishes. It's a clear polymer stamp. Works really, really well. I'm going to pull out one stamp that I find is really easy. And this is going to go on a 4 1/4 card by 5 1/2. So the first thing you do is you open up your Versamark. I'm sorry. I'm a nurse, you can tell. Versa. So I usually open up. I have a chamois here that we use to wipe off all our stamps, and you need to do that right away, otherwise you will cause problems with the stamps. It'll get on there and you won't get the very detail like you did have on your stamp before. So first stamp with your Versamark, and then you stamp all over. And I'm just making it a real varied stamp because, and you can tell it's a new Versamark because it's sticking to my stamp. And do a little bit off. And one here. Okay. And then I'm going to do the other one real quick too. There. I'm going to wash it off real quick and close up my stamp pad. And then you can use anything you want. You could use a coffee filter. I got this pan a long time ago. I have no idea where I got it. And then all you do is you spread the powder over your paper. You don't have to do anything more than that. Just get it up. It should cover. If it doesn't, just put some more on there. I usually flick it a little. I don't know, can they that? I get it all over. I'm gonna quick dump it back in. You don't have to do this. This is just a crisp thing here. There. Get the top on if I knock it somewhere. Okay, I'm gonna turn on the heat gun. So I'm gonna turn it off for a minute while I do that, and then you'll see the difference. Some of it didn't get stamped. I don't. Must be nerves. I think it's all on. There you go. And then if you notice that it's now sparkly and shiny, you can't rub it off. And then the heat gun just kind of melts the paint in there in the sparkly stuff. So now I'm going to stamp with some gorgeous grape. Use a different stamp here. Use that one. Nah, I think I'm going to use this. I'm going to use the balmy blue on this. And again, it's kind of, I don't know, there. Kind of in between these other snowflakes. Stamp off on the side here. Let's see. There. And you just kind of cover according to what you like or what you think looks good. It's nothing, anything. I'll do this corner there. There we go. Do this one, use just a little more. Okay. Put my stamp away. Okay, then we just need to let's see. The other thing we need to do before we start putting the card together is to come up with a saying. Gotta get everything out. Get everything out. And generally what I do, let's see, that balmy blue. This over here. And then you pick out one of your sayings. The one reason why I really like the Snowflake Wish is that it has several things on here, like thank you so much. It has may your season sparkle. In the coldest moments of the year, my heart is warm, be near. Snowflake wishes, and our friendship is one of a kind. So you can use this. It's quite versatile. You can use it for, hi, how you doing? Or thanking someone for helping you out with something. So pretty good. But I'm going to use on one of the cards the saying, oops. The year, and I'm going to go inside. Also, I like to put a little of the, there's another flakes that's a little tiny ones. So I'm going to use the balmy blue for that to kind of go around the saying. Can they, I don't know. There. Something like this. The other one I'm going to use is Season Sparkle for the inside undercard. Two different colors. Then you also need something with the same front. So I'm going to take this off. You don't put these things back right away. Sometimes you I have a tendency. This is going to go on the front of one of the cards. The other one is going to be thank you. Friendship is one of a kind. This one's this. Once the stamping is done, get these out. I pre-cut some embellishments for the front card earlier, so you would sit and wait for that. All right. Now, let's see what else. one of these is going to be ribbon, and put this on first. One of the easiest ways I think to do, use nail on the back and ribbon on there first. And then bring this, it's adhered to the back. Loosen it up here a little bit. Yeah. And then adhere the hard front on here. This is where I have the biggest part. There. Never goes when you're being filmed. Never, never. Now, just cut this out. I freehand to really fit any of the punches or anything, and I just looks. With that. There. Some glue. And then just to offset it. Oh, I didn't get one of the little divots on the back. Using a glued dot, put the big one on where I want it. And one of the foam adhesives from Stampin' to put on the back of smaller ones, pops it up a little bit. And then you have a card that's quite simple but easy to do. All right, and then this one, we use this. This is a ribbon. On here around the corner. Oops. Sometimes you have to kind of iron it a little bit with your finger for it to go around the corner. Okay. There. Now put it on the card, the second card front. You can really make a lot of quite simply. Whoops. As long as you don't get fingers. Here. See if this is a little easier. There. Cut this one. Scratch paper, that's why it's always good to scratch. And then put this up. And then also put this off the side here. Where's the piece? There they are. I think this is so the other thing that I have to put on there is dragging it here. These are clear. Blue back sequins that we have at Stampin' Up, and I really wish you can just pick them up with this Stampin' Up and put them all over, and it just adds a little extra sparkle to your card. And then for the middle of this embellishment, just to make it pop a little bit more, I'm gonna put one of these stones. They're hot stones on there, and it just kind of a little extra. And this one, whoops, they are sea little buggers. I'm gonna put that on one. Or what they call them. They're, I got it written down, so I want. They're with the blooming. They're on the site. They're called blooming sequin. I had them all written down. Yes, they're artistry blooming sequins. They have multiple colors. They're really nice. They make your cards pop. Okay. And then let me put a couple more on here. I'll show you some other cards, but they're not Stampin' Up paper, and I use the snowflake. Didn't use a different powder for those. So this is one that I did with Stampin' Up. It's kind of the same thing as Gorgeous Grape, and then the shimmer embossing powder on this one. Here they go that way. And then, okay, somebody's helping me. and then that I made, but the embossing powder is not available, but stamping rhinestones are. These are iridine stones that you can find at stamping. Look real quick. It's called iridescent than anything. They are called rhinestone basils. That's what those are. I'm pretty sure. I do have a site at Stamp Interested. You can go there and order the snowflakes. Really nice. It comes with the embossed folder, and it has some dies. Really nice. But the whole thing is kind of on here. We have the paper, which I'm using, the embossing folder. I'm sorry. Embossing folder. They do direct gem. I did use the glimmer paper, and I did make I haven't finished it. I'm sorry, but that was one. It doesn't cut snowflake out. You have to cut through, and then you put your glimmer paper on the back so that you can offset. So I didn't get this for this, so I truly apologize. And then this is with the snowflake splendor card. They're really nice. I'm sorry. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed my little tryst here of telling you about the website. Stampin' Up. These are some that they have. There's also a catalog for all items that I used. If you're interested, I can send that to you. Just like several different stamp and die. I really like it Stampin' Up because they colors coordinate so well. You can always find something, even if it's real simple. Really like getting a handmade that when I make it, they usually hang on to them for a long time. So that.
Hello there, Lisa Bauer from Stampin' Created by You. I have another useful tip for you. I always struggle a little bit with mounting our rubber stamps onto the stickers that come in our stamp sets. With photopolymer, you don't have that issue, but it's a little bit more difficult or tricky to get those rubber stamps mounted. I love our cling stamp sets. They work wonderfully for stamping, a lot of detail and clarity, but you just don't want to have them lined up wrong because then your image could be skewed. So today I'm going to show you a useful tip on how you can mount those stamps, and they're going to come out perfect every single time. So let me go ahead. I'm going to turn the camera down and I'll show you how that's done. Okay, here we go. I have the Still Seen stamp set, and I'm just going to choose, of course it's a bundle, which is great. I'm going to choose one of the stamps that I have not mounted yet, which is the base of the globe. Let me go ahead and get those back over here for now. And you get this wonderful sticker pack that comes in your set. Now, a lot of people will tell you that when you're putting these together, you just turn it over and you're going to peel off the back here, split it in half. And I'll show you that way too. I'm not a big fan of that. What I like to do is peel the whole sticker off, like this. Take one of my freshly cleaned blocks, and I'm going to put that sticky side down right on my block, just like so. Then I'm going to peel off the back of my stamp. There's like this little coating, little white coating. It kind of protects the side where you're going to put your sticker. And you can throw this part away for those of you who have not used these before. And then you're going to peel off the sticker. So now it's becoming translucent on top of your block, as you can see here. I'll hold it up so you can see it. So we have our sticker sticky side is up right now. If you drop this on anything, it's going to stick to it. And there may not be going back at all after that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to show you how this is done. You are going to just simply take the stamp set here. I hope you can see it okay. You're going to take the stamp set. Let me zoom in a little bit here for you so you can see this a little bit easier. Bear with me 1 second. There, and I'll move this up so you can see it. There, that's better. And all you're going to do is, just like if you were going to stamp, if there was a stamp on here, you are going to line up all of the edges. And you know what? I do need to pull it back closer to me. Either that or you're going to see all of my gray hairs. So let me pull it back a little bit closer just so I can line it up. Normally, I like to stand up when I'm doing this, so I hope I'm getting it just right on here. But it's so easy to line up all the edges. Oops, there we go. That looks about right from what I can tell from where I'm at. And then you just press down, and voila, your stamp is mounted, and it's all ready to go back in. And I just want to show you this. Look at, you don't have any of the edges that are hanging off the side of your stamp. It's a perfect mount. So I guess if we were gymnasts, we'd probably be getting a 10 score or something on that. But I hope this tip has helped you out with your stamping and preparing your stamps. Also, another great tip when you're putting your stamps together, to condition the stamps, I just rub an eraser across the top very lightly, and it conditions the stamps nicely so that they're ready to use at any given point. Most of the stamps are ready to use anyway, but I just find that I get a little bit more of an image that's consistent across the board, where if I don't condition these, I might have a little spot that doesn't absorb the ink as well. Well, I hope you like this tip and can use it in your everyday stamping. And until our next time, happy stamping!
Hi, I'm Brenda Kaufman from the CraftyLab.StampingUp.net, and today we're going to be making a Christmas card, and it's through the stamp set 12 Christmas with the stamp set and die set. And today we're going to be using the cardinal here and a couple other pieces in here. And so today let's get started with our stamp set and our card. So this is the finished product right here, and I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to make this card. And very simple to do. First, you're going to start off with the base card, and it's 5.5 by 8.5, and you're going to score it here at 4 1/4. You take your score tool and you score it. And then you're going to have your there's 2 different sheets of paper here, and you're going to use the first one, which is the red one, and that one is going to be 5 1/4 by 4 1/8. Sorry. And this is the first sheet that you're going to do it, and you're going to put that right there. Oops, sorry. You're going to take your Tombow and you're going to squirt some of that on here. You place it down here. You try and make it even all the way across. Next sheet we're going to use is the green one right here that's on top of the red one. That's 5 by 3 7/8. That was my paper in there. You're going to take your Tombow again, and you're going to put some glue on the back of it. You're going to take it and put it on top of that one. super easy. And then you got this. So then the next part you're going to want to do, I use these, I guess we have to do it this way. This is a gold fillers. It's called the Forever Gold Specialty Designer Paper. And you're going to take one of these and you're going to put it on top. Like this right here. Anyone that you want. You just take it off, punch it off. Get this one out of the way. You can put a little Tombow on there. Come on, my little Tombow. There we go. Just try and get a few of them here and there just so it sticks to the paper. You don't need to smother it with glue. And you just kind of stick it on there. Kind of be careful. I have a napkin or nothing. Paper towel. This is the cardinal, and you put it on your black, and you put your Memento black ink, and I stamped it, and this is what it turned out to be, which is perfect. It stamps beautifully. And then what I did, okay, and now that we have that all glued down with the Tombow, we cut out the cardinal, and now we're going to color the cardinal red with our watercolor pencils that we have some Stampin' Up. And what I like to do is I kind of go a little on the hard side on the edges first, and then you just kind of color in real lightly in there. And then the watercolor, you're going to take the watercolors, you just kind of push down a little bit here. And we're going to take our blender pen after we get most of this done. You're going to give it a little and it kind of blends it in. It gives it a little bit of depth. And then you can always add more color to it if you wanted more of the red darker in the middle. And I always put a piece of paper underneath it, so if you go off the edges, it's no big deal. And then for his beak, we're going to use like a yellowish orange. And the same thing, we're going to go on the outside. And then when we blend it, it fills it right in. There. And then we're going to put it on our card that we did, and it's going to look like this. And now we're going to also, we cut out our Christmas wishes, and that's also in the stamp set and die set. And first I stamped it on here, and then I cut it out with the die cuts, and this is how you get it. And then I put some dimensionals on the back, And then you can just peel those off. And I just kind of put it down here. And I put dimensions on him too. Yes, a cardinal is a boy when he's really deep red. So, and then if you want to add a little bling to it, I have these basic rhinestones. These are great. And now we're going to take the Take Your Pick tool and we're going to get the rhinestones. And this works great on little objects. So we're going to put these rhinestones down here to give it a little extra bling. I lost it. Where'd it go? Here we go. Look how perfect that is. And then your card is finished. How beautiful is that? Look how simple that was. Thanks for sharing your time with me. And if you want to see me again, go to thecraftylab.stampinup.net. Thank you.
Hey everybody, it's Cheryl again. I have a tip for you. How many times have you been down to your last blade, but you don't realize it until you go and cut a piece of paper and get an edge that looks like that? Can you see that? You think, what am I going to do? This is a special card. I'm making a card for somebody that I really care about. I can't give them this raggedy edge. Well, you know when you go get your nails done and they say, do you want your buffer and your nail file? And you say, no, what will I do with that? Ask them if you can have it. If you just, that's noisy, right? If you just run that buffer just that many times, just that little bit, look at the edge now. Is that beautiful or what? Now you can share that card. You can do both sides if you need to. You can share that card with anybody and be very proud. I hope you can use that tip. Have a great day.
Hello, my name is Jane. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I'm with Village Makery. Today I'm going to show you 4 cards. The first one is a gift card. You can put a candy bar in it. I'm using the stamp set Triangle Photopolymer Stamp Set by Stampin' Up! And the Right Triangle die set. This card is what we call a slimline card, and it fits into a business size envelope. So when you open it up, you can see your sentiment, and then you can I taped a large candy bar. And like I said, it fits right into a business size envelope. So I'll set this to the side and we will make the first card. So I took a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and it is 8.5 long by 7 3/4. Let me pull out my recipe card. I always make a recipe card. Yeah, 8.5 long by 7.5 wide. I took my Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer, and I score it at 3 3/4 and 3 1/2, and then we're done with that. So we're going to put our first layer down is, this is Mossy Meadow, and so now I'm going to put my first layer is cut 8 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then the second layer is a designer series paper, one of our Christmas collections, but it is designed to go with the Mossy Meadow and the Pear Pizzazz here. So we put that down. And now I'm going to stamp the sentiment. In real red. Joy and cheer. Nice and bright. And then I'm going to put that into my angle punch. Make sure it's working. Just want to line it up proper. Punch. Do the other end. It goes in nice and straight. Punch. Woo! Flies all over the place. We'll put this down right about here. And then I have some trees that I cut. And I just need to stamp the trunk. So I have a little, here's the trunk and the espresso. Now the trunk does not have its own die, but it's really easy to fussy cut these out. It only takes a few seconds. Scissors. So I'm going to cut these. Okay, so what we will do is put the trees on. Now this poinsettia tree I just absolutely love. It's a 2-stamp process, but it goes together very easily. You would need your stamp positioner for that. So we have the top done. We'll do a fold. Remember we have a double fold. That gives room for the candy bar to rest. So now we'll just stamp in. We'll use the early espresso. Stamp our sentiment on the inside. There's enough room for you to sign, maybe even write a little message. Then you can grab a candy bar. Roll some tape. Just roll some tape along the back. And put it down. Voila, you're done. Who's going to get this juicy candy bar? Okay. Now we're working on a slimline gift card holder. The base is made from Pear Pizzazz. We have a layer of real red, and then I'm also using a designer series paper that you can find in our mini catalog. It's called the Heartwarming Hugs designer series paper. And the stamp set is called Triangle, and I really love it. I love this poinsettia stamp and then the leaves to go around it. That's how I made this tree here. And then these two combine to make a really cute tree as well. That also is in our mini catalog. And this is the right triangle photopolymer stamp set from our annual catalog. A lot of fun. It comes, comes bundled with the stitched triangle dies. And I took them out of the original package and I put them on a magnetic sheet. It's one of those things that you put over your vents. It's a vent cover. So I cut it down to fit, and I store this set of dies with the matching stamp set. So they're always together, and I don't waste time looking for things. So this is the outside of our gift card holder. In the inside, as you can see, I've used the designer series paper to make an envelope for the gift card. It slips right in. And then also there's a white piece of paper for your message. And of course, a yummy candy bar. I have my cardstock here, and it is cut 8.5 by 7, and it is scored at 3 1/4, and then again at 3 1/2, and that gives a space to hold the candy bar. So we will be decorating the top. We have put the first layer on. So we're putting the real red over the Pear Pizzazz with some fast fuse here. Go together very easily. And this is the second layer. Okay, so now I'm adding the top layer of the DSP, and I have made a little cutout with the die for a little extra pizzazz. So stamping in real red. my sentiment. Joy and cheer. Okay, now I'm going to stamp the sentiment, joy and cheer.
Hold.
Now I'm going to stamp the sentiment, joy and cheer. And blow on that a bit. And now my tree's set to go. Put the stump underneath already, and we'll just. Now for these trees, I cut a 3 by 3 inch piece of paper and I put it in a stamp positioner and arranged the stamps, and so I was able to just stamp as many as I needed, and then cut them out. So I'm just adding a pop dot to pop up this this tree here, and so the cover is done. Now we'll turn it over, and we're going to make a gift card holder out of this. So I have going to stamp up in the corner, just accent with the ornaments, and then put in the right hand corner here. And stamp and just do a quick cut. Add some fabrics. And for this, I'm going to a thin layer of adhesive glue. Doesn't always come out right. My fine tip bottle. Put that there. The left hand side of the top. My candy bar. Voila. Gift card holder, a place to sign your name, and we're good to go. Card number 2 done. Okay, so we finished the candy bar holders. I do have a couple more slimline cards. This is made with our pretty peacock and foil, with happy wishes to you and yours. And greeting. This is our poinsettia series paper. And if you these cards and would like to purchase the bundle, the right triangle bundle is in our annual catalog, and you can get the stamp set and the dies, and then add the triangle stamp set from our catalog, which is available through December. You can go to Village Makery at Stampin' Up! To place an order. If you place an order for the stamp set and the die, I can send you the pre-cut material to make these cards. If you already have the stamp set and the die, and you're interested in the recipe card and the supplies to make these cards, I can send you those to your house as well for $25. So thanks for joining us today. I hope you had a lot of fun learning some new things, and have a happy holiday.
Hi, Jill again with Stampin' Nest. Going to show you today how to center. When you make a card like this, you want to put a sentiment on the inside, and you got this paper and you want to put something white. I'm going to show you how to put it in there so it lines up perfect. So you don't have to worry about, is the white going to stick out? All you do is put the glue. You put your glue on the back. So you have your glue, and then take your paper with the glue, open your card back up, put this on top so the glue is facing up. Get it lined up where you want it. I always try to just use my fingernails. And then you just close your card and hold it down and stick it. And that way you have a perfect alignment every time. You do not get any white showing at all. Very simple, easy trick. Use it on anything you can. Thanks.
Hey everybody, it's Cheryl with Orange Peony Paper Crafts. I'm here to show you a great card today. It's with the Snow Wonders stamp set and the dies and my favorite folder, the Evergreen Forest. It's a really simple card. There's a little bit of cutting and die cutting, but after that it goes together in minutes. You're going to absolutely love it. And it's some kind of non-traditional colors for Christmas. So it'll give you a unique card that'll be different from anything else you might make. Let's get started. Okay, so here's the card. I'll let you take a look at it. You can see that we've used crumb cake, cherry cobbler, pretty peacock, and then a technique that I'm going to show you that uses the white craft ink, the Whisper White craft ink. It looks very dramatic. In this one, I have a little bit up here in the upper part above the trees that kind of gives you the hint of mist or maybe like a mountain in the distance. And that's all in the way you're going to apply the white ink. So now that you've taken a peek, we're going to do that step first because it needs time to dry. I've pre-embossed the pretty peacock layer with the Evergreen Forest folder because you only need to see somebody emboss one time and you've kind of figured out how to do it. So you're going to take your white craft ink and we're just going to put a little bit in the lid. So we don't want to close the ink pad all the way over the way we normally would. This is really, really thick. It's a pigment ink. And so it's thicker than what we're used to working with. And I'm going to use a little piece of old sponge and I'm just going to move it around, move the ink around because I don't want to have too much on my sponge when I start spreading it onto the card. And we're going to sweep from the bottom to the top over the embossing. And just get a little bit more, and then we're going to go back and spread it around a little bit because we don't want these gobs of white. I'm going to turn my sponge over and I'm just going to work that out a little bit where I seem to have some darker places. And then of course, then I think I've wiped off too much and I've got to go back and get some more. And there's going to be places on the card that are not as obvious because they're going to have something over top of them. And you just put on how much you think you'd like. You know, think about frost on trees in the forest on a beautiful winter day. And there we go. We're going to just let that sit and dry for a minute. Close up the ink because guess what? I've already got it all over my fingers. No surprise there. Later we're going to use cherry cobbler, which is very dangerous for me. Always on my hands. So we've got a Whisper White card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. This card is going to be landscape versus portrait because of the way we want the trees to look. And we're going to go right ahead, right away, and put the cherry cobbler layer on there with a little bit of liquid glue. This is a new bottle, so I'll probably get too much on there and squish it out someplace where I don't want it. That's why I stay in a little bit from the edges. Now, this layer, typically you would have made it 5 1/4 by 4. But I'm really fond of having just a super narrow border around the edge. Yep, there I squished a little bit out. Let's pick that up with the bone folder. I really like that. So I've only taken 1/8 off versus 1/4 so that we get that just small edge. And I've done the same thing with the Pretty Peacock layer, which I'll just lay it on there for a minute so you can see. I've only brought it in 1/8 rather than 1/4 because I just want that to be a tiny pop of color behind our scene versus a real wide layer of its own. So then the next thing we need to do is take a scrap of the crumb cake and we're going to stamp the snowman from the set. It's a really, really nice stamp. It makes beautiful image. When you think how intricate that is, you're kind of surprised. Now you've got a couple options at how you're surprised at how sharp it is. You've got a couple options with your ink. You can either stamp it crumb cake on crumb cake, which is, let me make sure I'm in the frame, which is this one, or you can do early espresso on crumb cake, which is that one. I like, for the vintage look of this card, I kind of like the crumb cake better, but I have to say that somehow the early espresso on the crumb cake is a little bit of a sharper image. So I'll show you that one. And I'll tell you that my early espresso ink pad was a little bit dry and I inked it up. So it could be way more juicy than we are hoping for when it comes out. We'll see what happens. Just put it down and hold it for a second and lift, and not bad. The hat is a little bit light. If I was using my Stamparatus, I might go back and try to darken that up a little bit, but not too bad at all. And then I'll show you what the crumb cake on crumb cake looks like, but I still think we're going to end up using the early espresso. I really do. Let's ink this one up and stamp. I'll give a little extra press on that hat. Yeah, you can see there is a difference, and I like, for most things, I would prefer the crumb cake, but for what we're going to do, because we're going to color that in, and we want it to, you want to pick up some of that definition in the scarf, so I think we're going to stick with the early espresso. I'm going to save time, and because, again, how many times do you have to watch somebody do something before you know how to do it? I'm not going to do the die cutting. I'm going to use the image that I've already cut out, and we'll go ahead and give the snowman a little bit of a scarf and a hat look, I used Pretty Peacock, both light and dark, dark cherry cobbler, dark mossy meadow, and dark pumpkin pie for his little nose. Now, typically I use the brush end of the blends because I like to be able to have a little bit more like painting. I like the feel of painting a little bit more. But when we're using the blends on such a small area, I do use the fine tip. And let me find it for this one. We'll go up here. We'll just get the berries on his little hat. Just barely touching it because it's such a small thing that you're coloring in. And then his little holly leaves. There we go. Oh, and I know what I forgot to say. We're also going to use a tiny bit of the light black so that we can give his little eyes a little bit more definition. But again, you're just barely touching because you don't want his little smile to be like he needed a visit to the dentist. You want it to just be sort of small. Then I took the dark Pretty Peacock and I used that to kind of make the lines so we can see the outline of the hat with a little bit more definition. And if you like to put a little bit of shading in here, you know, you can go in where the stamp creating artist put some lines in there to show you where to go. And on this one, because it's a little bit bigger and I'm blending now, I am going to use the brush tip. I'm just going to fill in the area, and you can see that you still get a little bit of what's in the image, and you'll see that even more pronounced in the scarf. You're kind of come down here, you're going to flick a little color out at the end so that you get kind of the tails of the scarf. And then I just first, before I start coloring in, I'm going to draw over these edge lines because I want that to continue to be in the image. I don't want to lose that. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to go back and just color in. All of a sudden I have this feeling like, oh my goodness, what if you go out of the lines at this point? How embarrassing will that be? But I want you to still be able to see, and this will lighten up a little bit as it dries. I want you to be able to see kind of the knit texture that's in that scarf. So I want to stay really light, just barely touching. And you can see with the hat, it's already started to lighten up a little bit. And you could come back with your lightener, with the blends, the one that looks like it's white, but really it just lightens color up. But see how already you're starting, as that dries, you're starting to pick up that definition from the scarf. Now, because this is vintage, I'm not going to put rhinestones on his buttons because that wouldn't be very vintagey, I don't think. Maybe, perhaps it would be. I'm just going to use a little bit to darken in his little coal buttons. And then I'm going to take everybody's favorite, the Wink of Stella, and where the artist has put the shading in on the body of the snowman, I'm just going to run over that lightly with the Wink of Stella. It darkens it right now. You'll see that. You think, oh gosh, that looks kind of brown. But as it dries, you'll see that look kind of goes away, and it does just give you that shimmer that you're hoping for down the sides. So now we can let him dry for a minute. We'll set him up here. And we're gonna get the greeting ready. Now here comes the danger. I'm getting out the cherry cobbler. Red is a color that loves my fingers. I'm using the sentiment Happy Christmas because I wanted something that was going to be a single line on the strip. And the thing about this one is it always looks a little bit crooked to me. It feels like Christmas is kind of sloping up. So typically I'll turn this one down a little bit lower so that it looks like it's going to be going the other direction. But then when I stamp it, I get more of that straight across image that I'm looking for. And I'm going to close this quickly because I don't think any of it's on my hands, which is very exciting. And I believe that our pretty peacock layer is going to be dry enough to attach. So let's bring the card base back. And we're going to use liquid glue. Again, I like, because I never get it on quite straight enough to make me happy the first time. So I need to be able to wiggle it around a little bit. And liquid glue gives me that ability where if I was using a tape runner, Seal or Seal Plus, I would not have that option. When it's down, and there you go. So I'm going to stick with the liquid glue when I'm looking for getting this narrow border that I like. And same thing with our sentiment. And it goes edge to edge. It's going to go all the way across. You're going to put it up about maybe 1/4 of an inch from the bottom of the card. Line it up with your outside edges and just press it down. We're not going to use any dimensionals until we get to the snowman himself, which is where we're at now. We're going to give him some dimensionals and lift him up just a little bit. I usually go one of two ways. I either put on way too many dimensionals or not enough. And if I take your pick tool and get these off with that, they'll all be clustered in one place instead of somehow on the floor in my house, and I can throw them away all in one bit. Now we want to put him so that he's not at the bottom, but kind of close, and then make sure his little twig arm isn't hanging off the card, and then set him down. You see how this is coming together. I know you're amazed how quickly we're finishing this up because it seems like it's so fancy. I'm going to take the other end of my take your pick. I'm going to take a couple of these little snowflakes and I'm going to put them on here. Remember, 3 or 5. I think 7 would be kind of extreme, but always an odd number, just randomly, because you know it's snowing. That's what's on those trees, either snow or frost. And there you have it. There's our card for today. Here's the original and the sample, or the one we made today. And if you're interested in this set, you can go to my website, orangepeonypapercrafts.stampinup.net, and all of the supplies that I use to create this card will be listed there. Or if you already have the stamp set, you might say, but what else can I do with it? What other cards could I make with Snow Wonder? Well, you could make this bridge fold. You could make this stair step. You could make this window card. You could make this monochromatic snowman. You could make this Starry Night snowman. Or, really, really different, you could make this one, which is using the Pool Party color out of the Snowflake DSP with a little bit of that snowflake bow on it. So there's lots that you can do with this set that are very different, not necessarily just one card and what will I do with it after that. There's lots of ideas and I'd be happy to share them with you. You can go ahead and order from my website, and if you spend $35, you'll get the PDF and the supplies to make these 6 additional cards plus the card that we made today. Thanks, and I'll talk to you soon.
Hello there, Lisa Bauer again from Stampin' Created by You. And today I have a really cute project for you using the Coming Home bundle. And the nice thing about this set is that $3 on every purchase you make for the bundle goes to adoption, foster care, and infertility. And to me, this kind of hits a point in my heart here because I struggled from infertility. I know how costly it is and what a blessing it is to the parents when they're actually able to get pregnant and have kids. So I encourage you, and I hope that you purchase this bundle and are able to see some of these wonderful projects that we have. I also have a kind of like a retreat to go for this particular set. It includes a $50 goodie bag. You get 8 make and takes, the PDF tutorial, the videos, and it's $110, and it includes the shipping and handling. And I do throw in some really cute pillow gifts too. And then if you want to add on the bundle, we can just add that at that point in time, and it ships right with the rest of your items. So if you're interested in that, I'll be able to send out a notification and place it on my website at Stampin' Created by You at .stampinup.net. I'm still getting used to that one. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to turn you down and show you the cute project that we're making today. Okay, so this is the project that we're making. It's a little goodie box or treat holder. It's really neat because there's a little belly band on here that slides off. This opens up and you can put little snackies in there. I will tell you, I did use this for my fall retreat and made it in a fall leaf pattern. It was beautiful. And I was able to put an embellishment in there as well as a ribbon. And it was a cute little packaging to sit on everybody's desk. I think right now these little gifts mean a lot to folks. So if you have an opportunity to make this, make sure you give it to someone special. I'm sure they'll appreciate it, especially since we're kind of confined to the house, not doing too much. It's nice to get these little packages. Let's go ahead and get started. To make this project, you're going to need an 8.5 by 11 sheet of Poppy Parade. And then I'm going to pull in our trimmer. And this is real easy to do. You're going to use the full sheet of paper. And we're going to score it 1 inch on both sides of the 8.5 by 11, where the 8.5's at the top. Let's just put it that way. And then we're going to flip it around, and we're going to do the same to the other side. You notice I tucked my other blade, my cutting blade, away because I didn't want to make a mistake. Then we're going to open up our trimmer because we need the extension on this here. And we are going to score at 3.5. 4.5. 8 inches. And then 9 inches. And this is basically making your box. Then we're going to sit this aside, or trimmer aside. We can close it up, move it out of the way. Now you're going to take, let me see if I can find my bone folder here. I know I had it, just a matter of where I put it. Good gracious. You guys ever do that? Ever misplace something? Well, we're just going to crease it with our fingers here. You'll want to use a bone folder. And we're just going to crease each one of our little lines here. And then you're going to do the same for the sidelines, the 1-inch scores that you did. Okay, now you have all your score lines burnished. There we go. And you're going to look for the top part, which is a little bit smaller here. And we are actually going to cut these corners out. So let me show you here. And this is along that 1-inch score that we did. There's that one. I'm going to do the same here. And then cut here, like so. And then you're going to cut these little flaps. And you can kind of give them a little wedge out here, so it tucks nicely in the box. I'm going to turn around and do the other one. And you just cut into that 1-inch line. There we go. Now we move down. We're in the middle where you have about a 1-inch square there. You're going to cut up to the 1-inch line. And we're going to do the same thing. You're just going to chunk it out so it seals nicely. There we go. You can kind of see it there. We're going to turn our paper around. And you're going to go up again to the 1-inch line. Same score lines we dealt with before. And then you're just going to wedge it out or notch it out. There we go. And this forms our box. So to put the box together, the easiest thing to do, I like to fold in this tab. And I'm going to grab a little liquid glue here. Hopefully this is one that and I'm going to place a little liquid glue on the back side. Well, I think I am. There we go. And then I'm going to fold. Let me turn it so you can see it a little better. My glue is right here. I'm just going to fold it up till it meets. You can see right in the inside here, the little flap. You're going to do the same thing to this side. I'm going to put the glue on the back side. I think I might have left this and it got a little dried. And then we're going to take the glue and we're going to push it down here. You want to make sure this edge is flush. Okay, now the next part, this flap gets glue on the inside and it's going to go over top of the other one. So let's just go ahead and do that. I like using the liquid glue because it gives me a little playtime. You could also use the tear and tape for this if you wanted to. That is entirely up to you. And we're just matching it up to that edge there and pushing it down. And do the same to this side. And put the glue on. You don't need a lot of glue. One tip that I found with the multi-purpose liquid glue, when you're dealing with real fine items, I like the fine point on the top of this. You can find little tiny bottles that even have a tip very similar to our fine tip glue pen or glue bottle. I also, when my fine tip glue is gone, I empty it out, clean it real good, and I dump my Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue into my fine tip glue bottle, and it works out nicely. Then you have these two little flaps here, and I just kind of fold them in. It just gives you a good closure. You technically probably could even cut them off because you really don't. It's going to seal up nicely. Let's go ahead and do that just to make it easier so we're not doing a lot of tucking here. We're just going to snip these off. It'll make it simple. The belly band's going to hold it shut anyhow. There. Now we have our box. Now we need to do our belly band. And our belly band is 2 inches by 9 and 9/16. And I've gone ahead and I've cut that, and you're going to score it at 2 inches and 3 inches on both ends so that you get the shape of the belly band here. It's real easy. So again, 2 inches by 9 inches on the Misty Moonlight, and I'm sorry, 2 inches by 9 and 9/16 inches. Sorry about that. And then you're going to score at 2 inches and then 3 inches. And then you're going to turn your paper around and score at 2 inches and 3 inches. And that creates your belly band. Now, before we glue this down, you'll see that it's going to fit nicely around our box. And the score marks are perfect for our box. We want to give a little decoration, though, before we do this. So I'm going to cut some designer series paper. And this is from the Coming Home suite in the catalog. Let me show you that. It's right here, Trimming the Town designer series paper. This is the paper that we're going to use when decorating this box. I'm going to use this polka dot, red and white polka dot, which I love. But all the papers in there are beautiful, and you can really make some nice projects with that. So let me go ahead. I'm going to put this away, and I'm going to show you the pieces that you're going to need to decorate your box. Let me get these scraps out of the way. We don't need all of these little trimmings now, do we? Okay, so you're going to first need 2 pieces of designer series paper, the polka dot, and I cut these 3 1/4 by 6 1/4, and you're going to need 2 of them because you need one for the front of the box and one for the back of the box. And then we're going to take those and we're going to glue them down here. And you can kind of center them. There's going to be an edge around the whole thing. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm sticking to my glue bottle. Sorry about that. Don't mean to jiggle my table there either. Okay, now we're going to stick this to the front like so. And again, the multi-purpose liquid glue gives you a little bit of time to line up everything how you want it, so it's nice and even. And then I just kind of stick my hand in the inside, and then you can press a little bit harder. Then you're going to do the same for the back of the box. So let's go ahead and we're going to put glue on this piece. I would love to see the projects that you make from our Made in the Mitten Stampin' Extravaganza. Feel free to post them on our Facebook page. It's so much fun because you can take any of these designs and do them with different designer series paper, different stamp sets, and it really makes it easy to create projects on your own. You can explore your own creativity, do a little scrap lifting, right? Okay, we got that one now. And then the last piece of designer series paper I have here is 1 3/4 by 6 1/4. And that's going to go on our cute little flap here, like this. So let me go ahead. I'm going to put some glue on it. There we go. Going to put it on the top. I can kind of slide it around a little bit till I get it even where I want it. Looks pretty good. Okay, now we have that done. So we have our box decorated cutely. And now we need to put on our belly band. We're going to secure it a little bit. And you can use tear tape on this, or you can use a liquid glue. I'm just going to run a real fine line, because I don't want to get too much glue on. I don't want to make it goopy. So I put a little fine line of glue on there, and then we're just going to connect it. You don't want it super tight because you want to be able to slide it on and off. And you want to make sure that your 2 sides match up. And that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm just going to hold it there for a few seconds till it dries. Well, come on. Tear tape really would be ideal to use in this particular moment. It'd be easier to hold it together. The other thing you could use is our Seal Plus too. I just love the multi-purpose though. It just, I don't know, it works well for me. All right, I'm going to leave that turned upside down so that it has a little bit of pressure on it. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to cut out some stitch circles. And actually I only need one of those. And I need one of these and one of these. What I did, now the stitched circle is the largest one, and that comes out of your large catalog. It's on page 183, and I'm using these stitch shapes. And I picked the biggest circle here. Okay? And we're going to cut those out, again, using the same designer series paper. We picked out the tree here. So the first thing you're going to do, you can either use the dies in this set and run it through. And this is the stamp set. And then I put my dies right in the inside. So you could use this wavy snowbank looking die, and you could cut out like a snowdrift. Or you can just kind of make it yourself, whichever you prefer. I like a few more waves in it than this particular snowbank. So I'm going to cut it by hand. And I'm just going to kind of make waves in here. So it's a little choppy, but that's okay. So I have my snowdrift. And I'm going to glue it on to the base of my tree one that I already cut out. So I'm going to go ahead and put some liquid glue on it. We're going to stick it on here like so. Line them up nice. And then since this is on a belly band, I want to make sure that it has a little bit more stability. So I cut out a Misty Moonlight stitch circle. And I'm just going to glue that down on there like so. Just like this. Okay, now we have to decorate this. So I use the designer series paper to do some of the decorations. I use this piece in particular, and I cut out a section. And then I used the dies that were in here. And I used this die here, which is the little house. And I used the large tree. And then I used the little tree. And I used our new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I cut those out already, just so you could see them. So here's my little house. And then I have a little tree. I'll put the little tree maybe down in front here. And then we have a big tree, like so. And you could also, you can move this around however you want. You could do this and then have it like this. And I think I kind of like that. Maybe move this tree down a little bit more. And we're going to pop those up with some Stampin' Dimensionals. And I have large ones and I have the minis. I'm going to use the mini ones, of course, on the small tree. And I did all this work ahead of time. I cut out the samples in the paper so that you wouldn't have to watch me do that. I absolutely love our new emboss and cut machine. It works wonderfully. It's so easy to use. I'm going to use the bigger ones for my house, the dimensionals. I used to have a lot of trouble with my arm, with like almost like a bursitis or carpal tunnel it could be, I guess. But with this new machine, I haven't had any problems, and I've cut out a lot of stuff, so makes it kind of nice. And then I'm going to use this small little dimensional for the top of the tree, and then I'll use a couple big ones for the bottom. I didn't move that down too far, and I did. We'll use a little one down there. That's okay. He'll pop up nicely anyway. Just peel the backs off. There's a great tip on those dimensional backings, which you can see are all over my desk, that Cheryl shared with us. Okay, now I'm going to take my box, and on the front side, I'm going to adhere this with dimensionals. And remember, you only want them in the middle because you want to make sure they're just on this blue part. You don't want to stick this circle to your, oh, and of course I put them on wrong. My goodness. It's nice to see other people making mistakes, isn't it? You want to make sure you're facing the right way. And actually, probably the easiest way to do it is just put 3 in a row on here, like so. And notice that crease that we glued down originally, I'm kind of hiding with this circle. And so I'm just going to peel those off. I really should have take my pick tool. And then this goes on just like this. And then it's all set and ready for you to put a nice gift in and give to somebody. So here's our original one. And I had an extra tree in here. I just stamped this tree in Memento and then colored it with my blends and then cut it out with the dies. A little bit different look. Either is fine. You could almost even fit a little sentiment on this one, which would be cute. But in either case, you have a really cute box that you can share with others. I will tell you, I do have a retreat to go on this bundle. With the retreat to go, it's $110. That includes your shipping. You get a $50 goodie bag, and you get to make 8 make and takes. I will include the PDF tutorial as well as some videos like we're doing today. And then I throw in some really cute pillow gifts. So you don't want to miss out on that. You can visit my website, which is stampincreatedbyyou.stampinup.net. Or you can go out to my Facebook page, Stampin' Created by You. Just send me a message that you're interested, and I can send you the form to sign up. There's also lots of other goodies out there, other Facebook Lives that I've done. So I thank you for sharing your time with me today, and I look forward to stamping with you. Have a great day.